it's his own track, which is quite a unique opportunity. Imagine your dad owning the track, not only owning the track, owning probably one of, if not the best in the world. Now we're down the straights because of the extra drag. But what he's gaining is the stability. That's the main thing this man wants. He doesn't like a...
Temperatures rising up and the rain is falling in the sun. This is worst case scenario for the riders.
Absolutely worst case scenario. You know, keys to the race right now, weather, is it going to rain? Is it going to... If it dries up, Marc Marquez, you have to look at him. You know he's going to be the first guy to come in, change bikes. You got to stay on pace with him.
We love all this. We love all these surprises. It's a special year, as tight as we have seen perhaps ever. So let's open the next chapter in an intoxicating season so far. 5 riders, 26 points, 9 rounds. Let the drama recommence with Julian Ryder and Keith Ewan.
This is the one we've all been waiting for. It is the Czech Grand Prix. It is Motogp time. And if there is any more tension to be had here, I don't think 2 old hearts can actually stand it too much here in the commentary position. Alongside me, Keith Ewan and Julian Ryder. I think everything there says it all, really. Lorenzo is up on the second row of the grid and joins all the main men, with the exception of Vinales, who is struggling like mad.
And his head is fried at the moment, Keith. Valentino said yesterday, anybody in the top 7 can get on the rostrum, but not all of them can win.
And that was without actually thinking about how the weather would come to play. We've got the worst possible scenario that's coming up here from a rider's head point of view. It is a wet track at this moment in time. It's been declared a wet race, which will mean that they can come down pit lane and change their bike at the designated time. Everyone is out on wet tyres. The problem with that is the sun is out. If the sun, it might be raining now, but if the sun comes out here, the sun here is intense. It will dry this track really quickly.
This is not, Keith, a rerun of last year, is it?
No.
Where we started in the soaking wet.
25 degrees of track temperature. It's got a little bit of track temperature. Ambient is only 21, so quite low overall temperature compared with where we would normally be here. You can see just a little wind, not much, but 74 miles, 22 laps is your race distance. If those clouds clear and this sun gets on this track, to start with, it's black, it absorbs heat, it will suddenly start steaming, and we'll, round here, look, sun's on it.
Yep. We're going to have
and we've got no spray coming off these bikes at the moment, so there's not standing water anywhere, Jules.
87,500 people.
That's low.
For this place. It is.
You would normally see over 100,000 people here. Last year had about the same number, and that was disappointing for the organisers, because last year I think everyone went to Austria, went to the Red Bull Ring because it was a novelty. It was brand new last year. We were expecting higher figures here, and I have to say, coming in this morning, I expected... It did feel like there were more people here than there were last year, but anyway, there you go.
I think we were just a bit later. The point I was edging towards, Keith, was don't expect a replay of last year where somebody who goes out on hard, wet tyres is going to get to the flag and win, like Cal Crutchlow did, without changing bikes.
Remember Misano when Scott Redding... Scott Redding ended up on the podium, having crashed and then remounted to finish third. Or was it second? Bradley Smith actually finished on the podium, having rode round with slick tyres in. How he kept heating them, I don't know, but you can see it already. There's a line appearing down towards turn 10 here, the bottom end of the track. There is a line appearing, and I would not be surprised to see this track dry. There's a lot of riders here going to think to themselves, we could have risked something. Whether they would have done or not, I think if you're a lower end rider, perhaps, mind you, having said that, there's no lower end riders in MotoGP anymore.
But you'd want to be on the soft wets, wouldn't you, to take advantage, making the assumption that when they're worn out, it'll be time to change.
Straight in, yeah, that's absolutely right. But we'll wait and see. It's going to be who pulls the trigger first when it comes to the... We are going to have bike changes here, guaranteed, ladies and gentlemen. You can expect them coming down pit lane during this race to change their machinery, and therefore the tyres that are on that machine. Now, the big question as well is are these bikes all set up? Yes, I would say these bikes are set up for wet conditions. Look how much that dives at the front of Marc Marquez's machine. They may even have really soft settings in these bikes as well, so they're going to change these bikes fairly rapidly. I just think that everything they've got here, look at that. The boys are really in a big hurry to make sure they've got the right bikes ready, and all the settings are sorted as well. Carbon fibre brakes is the right shout. Steel brakes are not going to be the ones that work. We are about to come underway. The Czech Grand Prix here in Brno is go. Oh, look at that start from Marc Marquez. That was incredible. It was almost like he had two seconds of anticipation time. Blast out to turn one. Look at Jorge Lorenzo. Straight there on the Ducati with the new wings. He's riding it through turn one now then. This is going to be drama throughout this race. 22 laps. That is a whole 74 miles. The Czech Grand Prix as I hold my breath slightly as Danny Pedrosa looks for a way around the outside of the other Ducati, Dovizioso on 0-4. But the 99 of Jorge Lorenzo, what a start from him.
Pedrosa there on the outside of Rossi. Folger's made some progress.
I would expect him to in these conditions. Folger in these conditions. He's won here on a 125 bike. He's won here on a Moto 2 bike. So Jonas Folger, and they've been down in the doldrums yesterday. He was too slippery. Lorenzo goes for the lead. Lorenzo on a Ducati leads at Brno. We've always said this place is not a Ducati track. It's a Honda track. Wow. Maybe we'll be changing that particular comment.
It used to be a Jorge Lorenzo track.
Certainly did on a Yamaha, but not on a Ducati perhaps. We're now going to see, there's the two.
Both making progress.
They are indeed, but that looks like Folger just stuck it straight underneath. Zarco.
And Dovi in third, we haven't mentioned, Keith, the other factory, Ducati there.
Dovizioso was right in the thick of it at the start, but Pedrosa was all over him at one point. It's Valentino Rossi, though, that's fourth now. Pedrosa, who's that right out on the berm on the outside? There's Cal Crutchlow, winner last year. Still rain flickering on our screen from out there at that part of the track. Meanwhile, Lorenzo is easing away. There's the trouble, Maverick Vinales.
He's made up one place from his grid. Sixth now, not seventh.
Been a very difficult time indeed, but look back down the track. He's got underneath Pedrosa. So Maverick Vinales is forcing it to fit. That's a nice job.
Well done, Maverick.
As we come towards the end of this lap, up the hill now, horsepower hill. Look at the Ducatis drive. Here comes Dovizioso trying to get on terms with Marc Marquez. Doesn't get the Ducati by. Jorge Lorenzo was saying, I like that extra pressure on the front that the wings give me. It knocks off 7 kilometres an hour on top speed. This man's got no wings on his Ducati.
Championship contender, he doesn't want the distraction.
Look at the power of it though, look at it, it's just driving on as we cut to Valentino Rossi. Does Valentino get up the inside of Dovizioso? No, he doesn't. 0-4 is Dobby, 46 of course is the doctor.
Wide from Marquez.
Cuts it back to the apex though. Everybody chasing Jorge Lorenzo. I know one person who's going to be jumping up and down and squealing at her place, and that's Linda Smith. Back up in Wigan, going to be screaming. Her boy, Lorenzo out front.
As in Bob Smith.
As in Bob Smith.
The old British champion.
Indeed.
Oh, Zarco on the move. Has he got inside Vinales?
Certainly looked like he was aiming for it. He ran out wide, I think, and Vinales has got it back. Here we go then. We're driving out of that. Look at Valentino Rossi. He's got that sorted. He's on the inside line now, gets onto the dry bit. Valentino Rossi goes second, runs out wide. Does he get the power on to keep it away? Watch out for that Ducati. He's going to have a go at Marc Marquez next as we go up the hill. These bikes are going to be using these tyres up pretty soon because this is dry in so many places. Ducati power. Marquez, though, determined as ever. So Dobby gets moved right out onto the paintwork, blast straight back over the top of Marc Marquez. Then it's Vinales that's there as well. Keep an eye on them tyres.
With Zarco right with Vinales, right in his wheel tracks.
You've really got to do the most. If you're going to come down pit lane and change your tyre, change your motorcycle.
Marquez went backwards at that corner.
He had the soft rear end, didn't he?
That's what we were told on the grid.
Oh, I tell you what, that was Vinales running. Yeah, Vinales ran wide. That's right, Jules.
Yeah, and Zarco took advantage.
Zarco was just on the right line. Vinales was off it, and through has come the number 5 on the 25.
Marquez is being beaten up. Petrucci's got him. Has that rear tyre already gone? Is Marquez going to be a really early changer?
Has it got the real feel for it, I wonder? But is this track yet dry enough to go to slicks, I wonder?
Alex, Espargaro's just gone past him.
Everywhere I can see, it's looking to me, one more lap, I would say, minimum, and you have got to come in. This track is looking like it is dry enough. But then again, I'm sitting here in a commentary position. Air cooled. Let's have a look and see if anybody's come in yet, but it must be time, surely. Marquez in. Marquez is in. He's not out there still. Marc Marquez is coming down. So Marc Marquez, and I'll tell you what, that's a smart move.
And Folger.
That's a really smart move, and he gets straight on it. That is a smart move.
I'm thinking Germany last year.
Bradley Smith down there as well. So Bradley Smith has made the change also.
Both the KTMs, Jack Miller, Jonas Folger.
Look at this then. Drama. Pedrosa stayed out. There's Petrucci on the Ducati, the Pramac Ducati. He's not running the big wings. He tried them, but he's going to go for the test tomorrow.
Right.
So, a lap too long, 3.3 miles you've got to wait for. If those slicks come straight in, if they're up to speed and temperature, Marquez is going to be taking a great chunk out of these and go for the undercut. Let's keep an eye on his time. Of course, we won't get a perfect time.
2:08.452 for Lorenzo, the best lap of the race so far. There's your tipping point.
Well, it's going to get quicker anyway, Jules, even with these tyres on as the track dries out. But the question is, how much Marc Marquez can make up on these out laps on these guys? Because they've got to come in yet. Is he going to leapfrog them? As they all come down pit lane, he should leapfrog them.
Should do. Let us see what happens.
It says they're front and rear rain tyres, but he ain't got rain tyres in now.
No,
fairly
that's
sure of that.
antique information. Marquez, one of only a few who had a soft rear rain tyre in at the start. And these boys now looking a little bit tentative.
Yeah, well, they're all now they've got the big traffic jam down pit lane. They're all going to come in this time around. Marquez he was falling backwards through the field, but he's made his mind up already. And just whether he's managed to pull that undercut off, if he's managed his outlap, if he's had a really, really quick outlap, then it's going to work for him perfectly. 5
men changed bikes. The fact Folger changed as well, Keith.
Yeah, but Marquez is the faster man, so there it is. He's got it on his... Of course, they can now text message onto the dashboard the information. So Carol Abram, box call tyre change. You'll know that better than they do.
Yeah, that is dry.
Oh, hang on.
They're going past.
I can't believe that. I find that incredibly hard to believe. So that gives Marquez an even bigger advantage. Rossi has got the fastest lap. I want to see what Marquez's flying lap is. We haven't seen that yet.
Rins is just on a 2:07.6.
Redding in, Alicia Spargaro in just then.
Where is Marquez?
Well, we're looking at him. Oh, they've got the right graphic this time anyway. Medium, so he's gone for the slightly softer front one than he would have done. Oh, we've got Skittles in pit lane. Skittles, that's Ian One that's just gone down on the front end. So Ian One has just lost to Suzuki and knocked a load of people over. That was something we were always concerned with here with these kind of changes. We've seen Bautista before that's done the same thing. Was it Bautista? I think it was, wasn't it?
Hang on.
What are you talking? Before, didn't we have Bautista down on the deck before?
Yeah, Folger went and changed this time. He must have ridden straight through last time.
Check your eyes out.
They weren't ready for him. He's on the data screen.
Lorenzo, you're watching the screen over there, not the one in front of you.
I am indeed.
Loris Baz, he's also been called in.
Too late.
It's all a bit too late for a lot of these guys, and this is going to be tricky because Lorenzo is going to lose the lead. So is Valentino Rossi, in my view.
Valentino Rossi again hanging on out there.
We're still trying to sort our graphics out. You've got Marquez on wet tyres again on the tower just then. And everyone looking over their shoulders a bit at the moment. But where's that time for Marquez? What time did he do last time around?
It was an outlap, Keith. It was 20s.
I know, but he must be due, surely.
Not just yet. He did 22 on his outlap.
And Gav down in pit lane, even though our graphic keeps coming up and showing rain tyres on it, Gav has just underlined that he's on slicks. Well, of course he is, but for some reason our graphics are slightly wrong. Forgive us for that.
Rossi is leading the race, but he is on wet tyres.
So he won't be for long because he's got to come in. This track is drying by the second. And they are not the right tyres to be on at this point. In comes Lorenzo. Rossi goes round again. I don't understand this at all. This is going to ruin the race. Look at him. There's a race in pit lane coming down there. How many times did Yamaha muck this up?
3 times. We don't know what Yamaha are telling Rossi. Yamaha told him to come in previous occasions.
Look at this. Everybody is in. Well, let's hope we don't have any more of this. There is Pedrosa at last. Marquez just stuck the fastest lap in 1:58. Then he's now 4th, and he's going to leapfrog. Well, he's definitely going to leapfrog the 3 that are in front of him. So Marquez made the right call. Marc Marquez, absolutely the first man down pit lane for a bike change, which is effectively a tyre change.
Before him, Keith, the best lap was Rins.
It's not rocket science. The track was drying. And if you remember, we saw him. Where was that? I think it was in Germany when he came in and changed tyre really early on when everybody didn't think it was possible. He made it possible. Let's hear the latest from Gav in pit lane.
Yeah, just having a look at some of those changes. Danny Pedrosa was so much on it then when he came down pit lane. His change was the best I've seen of the lot. You're right, Marc Marquez did go out on slicks. I was stood by his bike as he came in, and he's definitely out there on slick tyres.
Can see it now. Marc Marquez is going to be the man to watch. These 3, well, honestly, have just given away the races, I must say. Valentino Rossi, this has wrecked his strategy is completely wrong for the way this racetrack has evolved, and it's going to cost him dearly.
And Zarco and Dovizioso.
Yeah, but it's happened so many times.
That's the frustration.
Zarco's a rookie, Julian.
Yeah,
he's 38 years old. He's a 9 times world champion that has done this so many times and has had this mistake coming in too late previously.
And tests have shown, haven't they, over the history of this rule, this is not a brand new rule, it's been around for a while, that he who changes early...
Well, like I said, Marc Marquez did it right in Germany last year, a couple of years ago, whenever it was, but he made the change and no one could believe he could ride on what
Rossi.
it is. Yeah, 2 laps too late.
Zarco keeps going.
Well, that's just daft.
That's Zarco. That's just flaky.
Yeah, Marquez last time around, what was his time? Zarco leads over the line. Marquez is going to catch him already and he hasn't made the change. You know, that's just silly.
That's it,
Poor strategy. Let's watch for Valentino. He does this so slowly. That's the quickest we've seen him practice it all week, I must say.
Dobby goes out with him.
Yeah, well, these two can have their little race together, but Marquez and co have gone by, and they're long gone by the time Rossi comes out with Dobby. Look how much work they've got to do now to get past this lot. Outrageous.
I don't know what to say. Has Scott Redding changed bikes?
Yes,
Because
he came down. I'm sure he came down. I saw him come down.
And he's doing 2-minute flats.
He came down pit lane early with Aleix Espargaro. Look at the black line off the back there on the overrun, down into the turn, just tipping it in. He'd got it absolutely. You know, this kid.
Just.
How old is he? 23.
Let me just check that, Keith. See whether he's attained the grand old age of 24.
Unbelievable.
Yes, he had. He attained 24 in February.
There you go. All right. I was out by a year.
And here is the lead. On track, as they say, to just...
That's what slicks do.
That's the difference, folks.
And Zarco, you know, he's now got, 30 seconds to spend coming down pit lane. He's going to be half a minute behind by the time he comes... In fact, more than that, because this guy's going to gain an extra 5 or 6 seconds on him by the time he gets to the point. I'm just going to work out...
This is going to shake out, I think, very well for Scott Redding and Aleix Espargaro.
Well, not to mention Abraham's been down pit lane. Aleix Espargaro and Scott Redding came down together. So at the moment, as it reshapes itself, this field, here we go, incident involving 29 Andrea Iannone and 41 Aleix Espargaro in the pits. I didn't see Espargaro down on the deck, so they obviously got hooked up.
The Suzuki hit the Aprilia.
Yeah. We're told that Aleix had a bit more of a hand in that than you might think, Jules.
Oh, really?
But we'll wait for the proper jury to go out.
I'd have bought a ticket to that fight, actually.
One will use gloves, the other will use a handbag. Work it out for yourself.
Designer.
Abraham. Marquez, another fastest lap. 57.6 for Marquez.
It's Zarco, Keith.
Yeah. Don't think I want to watch it.
No, this is a bit of a... He does a good twizzle, though. You like the pivot?
He's going to do more than that when he gets to the end of this race. So he is a rookie. We'll forgive him for it. Of course, if that was his call not to come in, I know it was his call because Hervé, Guy Coulon, they will have been shouting at him to come in earlier, surely. Those guys have got so much experience.
He exits in front of Valentino and Dobby.
Maybe they were slow on their outlap.
No, and just as I say that, they go past him.
I mean, I was going to say they might have been slow on their outlap, perhaps, but now he's got an outlap to get up to speed on slicks.
That leading trio.
Here we go. This is Aleix Espargaro on Scott Redding, so we're about to see a change for second and third place at the moment. Scott Redding's week might just change slightly. That's Karel Abraham all over Scott Redding. So the 17 of Karel Abraham, despite his nerves on the grid, if you heard him, suddenly those nerves all go away when you get on your motorbike. This is, of course, his first choice of work.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, once you get down to business, you do your business, and that's what Karel Abraham is up to at the moment. We're looking at Rins on the other Suzuki, being chased by Miller, I think that is it?
It looks like Jack to me.
What a topsy-turvy old race. He's got Vinales behind him. And look for the KTM, Pol Espargaro, 12th place at the moment.
Bradley Smith in 17th. Lorenzo down in 19th.
Well, it's gone dry now. If anything, he wouldn't be quite as fast in the dry, I don't think.
No, he appeared to have got it happy in the wet, didn't he? Now then.
It was like that on Friday, wasn't he?
That's what I'm trying to think back to Friday, Keith. Look at this.
Come on, Scotty. get stuck in. We want you smiling, not crying at the end of this one.
Yeah, we need a really good result, a good solid finish for Scotty Redding. Carol Abraham is going to try very hard to spoil his day, as you can see.
Look at the gaps. Marc Marquez, a 19-second lead in this race. 19 seconds he leads Aleix Espargaro and Scott Redding by. Carol Abraham also is 9. Those three are stuck together, of course. Pedrosa, 22 seconds behind Marquez, as is Petrucci, Crutchlow, Rins. 24 seconds behind is Vinales.
Pedrosa is less than 2 seconds behind the dice for second, third and fourth. So Danny is heading towards a rostrum position.
Rossi and Dovizioso, half a minute behind Julian.
In
half a minute.
13th and 14th, with Zarco a couple of places further back. Disastrous. Disastrous. And Folger.
Now it's all about who picks up the pace on slick tyres quickest. And we know Marc Marquez was going to go like a...
Yeah, yes.
Fired out of the gun.
Indeed.
It's about everybody else. Scott Redding seems to have got straight on it. Here is Rossi. Now he's behind Paul Espargaro. So Rossi is closing it down. He's 13th at the moment. Like I say, 29 seconds and a bit off of the lead, Marc Marquez. And all of that, clearly it's not down to talent. It's down to tactics. And he's wrecked them.
I don't know what to say. Normally, Valentino never makes the same mistake twice, ever.
Every single rider, with the exception of Marquez out front and Zarco down in 16th place, are on personal best. Bit of flat track in there.
How the slick's doing there?
So out on the dirt and running the Red Bull round the outside.
But still there, fastest lap of the race, 57.4 now for Marquez.
Yeah, watch for Crutchlow as well. He's well into the 57s also.
Yes.
Cal Crutchlow will be gritting his teeth.
Also,
tactics, strategy. That's what's done this race so far, Jules.
Danny in the 57s and right on the back of Carol Abraham.
Vinales gets past Rins. We're looking at Paul Espargaro. Rossi can't get past the KTM in short order, can he? Here's your race leader, Marc Marquez.
What's the lead?
Well, it was 19 seconds. It's now 21 seconds, albeit.
Yeah, excuse my laughter.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of not funny, but kind of is.
Yeah.
And I feel... Do you know what? I feel slightly embarrassed for the strategy of some.
I feel embarrassed that factory teams managed to make.
It's the reason why the new text on dashboard is up, because when you have to wait
Allegedly.
3.3... Well, the reason... Well, no, it's all been accepted for next year. But I remember Valentino Rossi was very much in favour of text messaging on dashboards, whereas some were against it. Fact is that perhaps... waiting 3.3 miles to see your pit board to know what was going on is too late.
Okay.
Getting a text message on your dashboard to say come in. But was he ignoring it? Because Yamaha have that text message system now.
Yes. Look,
was he ignoring it?
Valentino ignored 3-foot-high letters on his pit board.
Yeah, because he was racing with the people around him and he thought he knew better in that situation. But that's all gone. That's in the past. Things move on. It just surprises me.
There you go.
It just surprises me that Yamaha seem to be still in the communication black hole that they were in a year ago.
I'll lay odds Valentino ignored them.
It'll be interesting to hear what he has to say in the post-race briefing, that is for sure. Does anyone dare ask him?
Oh, they will.
Marquez, Aleix Espargaro on an Aprilia, who is about to be passed by Danny Pedrosa, but he's still podium position at the moment.
Still third place is Aleix Espargaro.
12.5 laps of the 22-lap race to go.
59.2 last time round.
We come to the end of this lap now for Pedrosa, who's now in second place from Aleix Espargaro. Redding is still there, but he's got Abraham behind him, but now it's Petrucci catching up and Cal Crutchlow.
Honda's adapting best to the new track. Who else? Vinales is making a little bit of progress.
Goes past Paul Espargaro, he slips back a place.
That's only 13th for Dobby.
Yeah, a bit of work to do there for the main men in this championship. This has been a disaster for Valentino Rossi, down in 12th place at the moment. 13th for Dobby. If you look at the Marc Marquez, 129 points coming into this race. Maverick Vinales 124, Dobby 123 and Rossi 119. Only 10 points covering the top four, but it is going to be Marquez that is going to grab 25 points here, barring a disaster, which could happen. It is motorbike racing.
Exactly. Let's 13 laps or 12.5 still to go, and we've now really shook out the order after all the changes. And Valentino,
sorry mate,
30 seconds behind the leader.
These two, though, Pedrosa and Cal Crutchlow, are going to go past Abraham.
Yeah.
They're going to go past Aleix Espargaro on the Aprilia, that's for sure.
Ooh, Carol Abraham not giving a place away.
And so he shouldn't.
Exactly.
It's his place to keep.
And he's riding very tidily.
Moto 2 winner once.
Yep.
Long time ago, perhaps. There's Petrucci. Oh, I tell you what.
If I was Carol, I'd be...
Danilo Petrucci really elbowed him out the way there. That was a bit disrespectful, but he committed himself, Jules, and that was, unfortunately, once you commit, you're done.
Yeah, that's
He was up the inside, and that is racing. So, Cal Crutchlow's got to do the same thing now, and Carol better expect it.
I don't think Carroll's naive enough not to. He's still riding a very, very good race. Vinales is how far behind? About 2 seconds behind last time?
Tell you what, if Pedrosa tries that on with Scott Redding and Aleix Espargaro, he's not going to get quite the gentlemanly move that Carroll gave him.
Carroll's a lot slighter. It's when it's two big lads.
Here we go. Cal Crutchlow right in the slipstream of Petrucci. They are chasing Petrucci's teammate, 45, Scott Redding. This is the Doctor, still back in 11th place now. Dobby's in 12th place now. Paul Espargaro's been passed. He's back to 13th.
Fastest lap of the race to Danny Pedrosa, 57.3. It's academic, Keith.
Yeah, but no surprises there.
No.
He's been quick this week.
Yeah, but he is 22 seconds behind Marc Marquez.
Nightmare, all because of strategy. Yep. Marquez pulls another flanker across the lot of them. Here is a man getting used to his Motogp bike again, having just done the Suzuka 8-hour, Jack Miller.
I think Marquez did exactly the right thing. Software tiring, wear it out quickly, get up pit lane.
I think perhaps the 22-second lead might underline that statement you've just made, Jules.
Well, we said it on the grid, Keith. It's not rocket science.
Pedrosa, Aleix Espargaro, Petrucci has passed Scott Redding. Now it's Cal Crutchlow who's got to pass Scott Redding. The number 9 is Petrucci. Number 45, Scott Redding. The 35, of course, is the fighter from Coventry, exiled to the Isle of Man. And then Carol Abram still hanging in there. I'll tell you what, a top 10 finish for Carol Abram will be a bit neat, wouldn't it?
It would be his 3rd of the year if he managed it.
Yeah, and I think underlines he might be the man that brings a bit of money to that team, but he's also not been shy of a performance or two. He's still got Maverick Vinales, the man who led this World Championship, behind him.
Yep.
Not for long,
I don't believe, but Carroll ain't a pushover, as been demonstrated, and it's good. He's never had a good performance here. Even when he was winning Moto2 races, he managed usually to injure himself right before this race. He used to get very het up about his home race and rule himself out of it for year after year.
He lives a mile from here, next to his dad's house. They literally live a mile down the lane from this track. This is his dad's track. You heard what it meant to him.
Yeah.
Over the line, Pedrosa, another fastest lap. Does anybody else get one in after him? I think Pedrosa is properly on the move, but it's a 21.9 second lead that Marquez has over Pedrosa, even though he chips a little bit off of it.
57.1, but in 12th place.
Yeah, that's just not going to do it, is it?
That would, if I'm Claudio Domenicali at home in Bologna, I am...
Folger has just moved ahead of Smith. So Bradley Smith on the other KTM. There's Aleix Espargaro cutting straight back up. I told you, as soon as Petrucci came across Aleix Espargaro, he wasn't going to get it quite as easy as he might have thought. So Aleix Espargaro, we know he's a fighter. Colin Edwards sitting here watching this at the back of the commentary position. And
that new Aprilia engine, in fact, knew everything apart from the chassis.
I'm going to say, he's got, he is the man with all the latest bits on it, hasn't he? He doesn't wear that, run that aero fairing, of course, that Sam Lowes has to run. But it's Aleix Espargaro and that Aprilia, which has got a bit of horsepower now.
And Aleix, his job for Aprilia, he's the man with the pressure to deliver top half-dozen places.
Well, so far he's sitting in a podium position, and we have just 10.5 laps to go of this Czech Grand Prix. The MotoGP boys are flat on it now. Back down through the gearbox. What a great graphic that is. It's great if you can work it all out. Trying to watch the boys and then look at it. There is plenty of information. It's hard enough for us to look at that dashboard here sitting still. You imagine what it's like when you're on the bike working everything out and you get a text message halfway through.
Yeah.
Sausage and mash for tea, dear. Marquez, last time around, he's gone already through the... He's on his...
Here goes Petrux again.
Oh, and Cal Crutchlow nearly clipping the rear end of Aleix Espargaro. Like I say, Marquez is already through the breaker. 10 laps to go for him. These guys have still got to come to the line. Here it is. You watch this Aprilia now, right up behind Pedrosa. He's going to go for a braking point. Cal Crutchlow going to try and do the two of them, but that Honda might be the poor relation out of these two in a straight line.
Maverick's up 2 places.
Needs to be. It's a 21.7, so just 0.2 of a second Pedrosa has taken out of Marquez's lead.
Academic.
What?
You reckon? You reckon, Julian? I'll save you the trouble, Keith. Rossi,
I'm just going to giggle.
Rossi up to 9th.
Hard work for low points, all because of strategy. So much given away.
All because of repeating an error.
I daren't look at Twitter. Because criticism for Valentino Rossi or his team is not likely to be good for the fans, and I'm sure I'm getting plenty of flack for it, but at the end of the day, you've got to call it how you see it, and they really have messed up.
This is Vinales making his 2nd pass of the lap.
Beauty.
Very neat.
That was a nice pass, wasn't it? But too far away. It's all going to shake out in the points at the moment, and it's going to be how many spoilers you've got between you and the major points, isn't it?
Exactly.
And when you've got the likes of Aleix Espargaro, who's absolutely motivated on that Aprilia, and he's held Cal Crutchlow at bay.
And Petrucci as well, who's not a championship
Here we go.
taking big points.
Nice move, Cal. Beauty. Absolutely lovely move there from Cal Crutchlow. Got that Honda turned, got it under the Aprilia, in the flip-flop, and past he went. But
Maverick is on the move.
It's not easy to pass the likes of Aleix. If you've got a motorcycle that's reasonably quick in a straight line, and that Aprilia certainly has picked up on the horsepower stakes, that's going to be a mistake. Yes, it was. Looking round into the face of Maverick Vinales and then getting done on the wide line. So Maverick Vinales moves up another place.
Aleix hasn't hit a problem, has he?
Starting to look round a bit too much, but that might be just to see who's around. Maybe he feels the inevitable is coming his way, and he was just didn't want to get tripped up anywhere. Back with Marc Marquez, your race leader. He is already. Oh, that's a bit of a disaster for Alvaro Bautista. Down at Schwantz, he has crashed.
He had a bad start as well, Keith, so he's always making up time. He's following Lorenzo here.
Yeah, he's got it bobbling on the way in. He was just a little wide. You can see his trail breaking it in, and again, we use the word greedy.
Didn't he do that in the first day?
Because, yeah, he had an oil leak as well at one point, didn't he? Anyway, back to the race. Alvaro's out of it. Rider okay, though, which is the main thing. Maverick Vinales is all after Cal Crutchlow now. Crutchlow's got a bit of a handful there as Abraham is being dealt with. Now Valentino Rossi's next up for passing the number 17 check, and that is so typical of Valentino Rossi. That kind of move at Mugello, I always enjoy that move of Valentino's at Mugello.
Absolutely.
That flip-flop straight underneath, keep the thing lit up.
So how far is Valentino from a rostrum?
Far enough, Jules. 8.5 laps to go, and he's got a lot of good people to pass, but
he's closer than let me do the sums, Keith, bear with me.
Well, he's 8th at this moment in time. He's 2/10 off of
he's only a couple of seconds back.
Yeah, you're right, he's only a couple of seconds
only
back.
a couple of seconds, Keith.
Got work to do though, and of course at each person you pass
it gets harder,
of course,
by definition,
because they are slightly faster. Let's see what Valentino can do on Scott Redding. He makes that easy, doesn't he? Up the inside of Scott Redding. Again, Scott Redding just got, well, he got on the bobbles, didn't he? Just at that front end started to shake a little bit. And Scott Redding, instead of doing what Bautista did, he let it run a little wide instead of squeezing that brake a bit harder.
That's Dovi making progress in the wheel tracks of Valentino.
He's right up behind Abraham now, is Dovi. Bike number 17 is Abraham between him and Valentino. Look at that match, how much Valentino has made up there.
Him and Dovi both. Right, let's check the lap times this time and see if Valentino has the ammo. Best lap of the race, personal for Crutchlow and Espargaro that time round. 58.1 for Valentino.
Dovi goes through on Carol Abraham.
58.3 for Espargaro in front of him, but Vinales is doing 57.6. Espargaro's been told to give away three positions.
He must have been running off the track, using parts of the track he shouldn't.
Must have been something.
That's why he's looking over his shoulder.
That's it.
That's exactly why he's looking over his shoulder. So, I wonder if he caused that accident in the pits that they were talking about.
Unsafe release in pit lane.
That's what it was.
There you go.
Where'd you see that? Oh yeah, on the monitor. If all else fails, I'll read our monitor.
Read the instructions.
So
they blamed him for the accident involving Iannone.
Yeah, we only saw Iannone, but it was Aleix Espargaro who caused it. unsafe release, or his team allowing him.
Caused it.
Yeah, indeed, allowing him away.
We all assume when you know Nate's
We haven't
involved in
yet-
something, we always tend to...
Motorcycle racing hasn't quite caught up with these pit stops, have they yet? With if we look at our F1 counterparts, who 9 times out of 10 make it right, we've just, the strategy from the pits just doesn't seem to equal something like Formula One, where they've got it off to an art.
when you can...
Here we go,
look
Maverick.
at Vinales.
Yeah, that's pretty
That's comprehensive.
neat. Mind you, M1 Yamaha, usually.
Yeah, careful.
Yeah, I know.
We always
Usually.
have to put a proviso on this year.
Now then, that's going to make it harder for Rossi now to be on the podium, because Vinales has been released at the front of that group.
Carol Abraham
Has been allowed past.
past.
Yeah.
Now here we are.
Right.
Watch Iannone coming in.
Oh yeah, and he had to grab the front brake.
Yeah, Vinales saw it.
Yeah,
Iannone saw it coming.
yeah, and had to grab the front brake a bit harder. Otherwise, he was going to ram Malaysia Spargaro. So there you go. So it wasn't his pit. I say Aprilia. Sorry about that. Bringing you into disrepute. It was actually a rider. You can slap him on the wrist for that. It's cost him dear as well. 3 places.
57-1, fastest lap of the race. Folger, who's outside the points.
It's incredible, isn't it? The lead is only 20.4 seconds at the moment. This man, Marquez, over his teammate, Danny Pedrosa, who is 20.4 seconds behind. Maverick Vinales is now third, 27 seconds behind Marquez.
Rossi is massively faster than Crutchlow and Petrucci in front of him, massively.
But it's his teammate, Maverick Vinales, who is now being released in that third place. Can Rossi make a podium? It's going to be one of those races, but every moment that goes by, the laps click down. We have, what, 6.5, less than that, laps to go. This is Pedrosa in second place.
Looking at the lap times, Rossi could very easily, could get 4th place, Keith.
Believe that. But now that Marquez is by, sorry, Vinales is by, as you can see, it's just a question of what his rhythm is. He seems to have fought really well with people in his way. He seems to have really fought hard to get by them. Now it's a question about rhythm and pace. Can he keep it going?
And so often riders say when they get on the second bike, oh, it didn't feel like the first one. Well, of course it didn't. Conditions are different tyres and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But he's got quicker and quicker, hasn't he, as he's gone on.
Oh, Baz has crashed.
Oh, no.
Number 76, Loris Baz.
Out of the points.
You'd have seen him on our Facebook Live that we did on Friday, I think it was, with Gavin. And it was a really good interview. It will be on our Facebook Live slot if you want to take a look at that. Loris Baz, a gentleman.
Worth a few minutes of your time.
Indeed.
Now, there is Rossi's target. Crutchlow with a very recalcitrant Honda and Petrucci. Lap times on the last few laps say Valentino has got the beating of them. But, as you say, Keith, a rostrum in front of his teammate.
Oh,
that's Loris.
Baz, yeah, down at turn 7, just entering into the stadium section of that in second gear. So, you know, not...
And that's Crutchlow in front of Petrucci, as you can see. Those two having a good...
Tell you what, Petrucci's still going to have a go back at Cal here if Cal doesn't pull himself out of the way. And then we've got Valentino that's trying to get on terms with the pair of them as well. And while these two are fighting, Valentino's got to thread the eye of a very difficult needle to get by them.
And by the way, Valentino has Dovizioso not very far behind him.
Well, far enough.
Oh, no, far, make that a second and a half behind him.
So Marquez, 19.9 seconds ahead of Pedrosa.
It's dropped enormously.
I'm going to watch the gap back from Pedrosa to Vinales. It was 6.8 at the line last time, so keep an eye on that. 6.8 back to third place man Vinales from Pedrosa, just to see if Danny is under any threat at all from the Yamaha man.
Well, I haven't seen a lap yet where Vinales was quicker than Pedrosa.
Just a question of whether Pedrosa lays off it a little bit early.
Cracking ride from Danny again, no?
We expected it all weekend, didn't we?
Yeah.
And plus the fact, looking at the World Championship, that puts him right in contention again with people being behind him.
Absolutely.
It's only Mark who's cleared off in front of him, but his other contenders of Maverick and, of course, Andrea Dovizioso, Valentino Rossi, they're all behind him.
You're not going to get past that up the hill. And the team that tested here a couple of weeks ago, yet again reaping the benefits.
Honda looking so good. Valentino Rossi trying to get himself tough right in behind Pedrosa. He turns it tight. Vinales has got the fastest lap. See what I mean, George?
Yep.
Vinales is right on
He
it.
is faster now.
And then comes Rossi, but just can't quite get with it. The minions look on.
And some shaking of heads there.
Yeah, well, that's the power of the Ducati. And it hasn't got that great big draggy fairing on it either. So Pedrosa's Ducati is going to be flying up the hill. This is Cal Crutchlow. We're looking from Rossi, and he's got it done this time. Underneath Petrucci goes Valentino Rossi.
That's a classic Brno Valentino Rossi move. Petrox thought about a dip, no chance.
Yeah, Valentino will have had that covered. Now he's got to keep it going so Petrucci can't blast up the hill past him on the all-powerful Ducati. So Valentino will be well aware of that. This is Cal Crutchlow we're on board with now, the LCR Honda.
Petrucci held up Rossi just for long enough to give Crutchlow a bit of a cushion.
Well, that's good for the Brit. Winner here last year. 35 years we waited for somebody to do it. Cal Crutchlow was your man. Then he went and did it again later in the year as well. This time, might have been here at Brno, it might have been down to a really good tyre choice as well as a really good ride. But then later on in the year, he doubled it up in a full-on race win for Cal Crutchlow. This is still a good ride from Crutchlow. 4th place at the moment. Still looking at your race leader. Number 93, 19.4 seconds he was in front. Vinales, we'll keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
As he comes to the line. 6.6 it was last time round at the line on Pedrosa in 2nd place. Let's see what he does this time as he comes down.
They've only just come through the 3rd sector.
I know, I'm waiting. Here he is now, Vinales. That's 25 Vinales. Wait for Pedrosa to cross the line. He should be there now. Still waiting for his... Yeah, he's gone across the line. He's 18.9 behind Marquez. But what is Vinales? Was 6.6. 6.6, exactly the same. So there's no change between 2nd and 3rd. But Crutchlow is 1.6 seconds behind Vinales now. 0.8 further back is Rossi on Crutchlow.
It's going to be really tight, Rossi and Crutchlow.
Really tight.
I think.
Hang on a minute. Don't do that, Cal. You'll be giving away a place. He ran right across the edge of the track then, out of bounds, that is, just there. If he does it 3 times...
Yeah, you do it a couple of times, they'll pay very close attention.
But he might have to give away a place. If he's taken for an unfair advantage, hopefully that was a one-off. I didn't see him do it ever before, so Cal Crutchlow shows you how hard he's trying, though, if he's having to flick it across the inside of the corner just to stay on the thing. Here's your race leader. Sounds so sweet, doesn't it?
And this is exhibition. How can one man, how can one very young man make a field full of greats, all-time greats?
This is all about strategy, not about the race. This is all about strategy, Julian. He is not going faster than Pedrosa and Vinales.
I know.
It's not about, this is just swift thinking. The kid thought on his feet, thought on his bike even, and got it dead right.
I'm not suggesting otherwise. I'm really not.
But it can be mistaken as just a brilliant ride. It is a brilliant ride, of course, but the fact is that he was the first in. He was falling through the field. He decided it was dry enough to go and jump on a bike that didn't have wet tyres on.
He understood the whole picture.
And he was, 3 laps in front of the thinking of the Yamaha team. Or the Yamaha rider, whichever one is to blame.
I'm still believing, I stand to be corrected, but my assumption is the Yamaha crew, knowing what they know from previous races, will have had the...
There's going to be some shaking heads. There's going to be some shaking heads because it's a serious situation in the World Championship, the stakes for the World Championship. It was 10 points that split the top 4 people. Suddenly that's going to be blown apart by Marc Marquez's win.
Pedrosa's going to close right in on a few people.
Wow.
Danny's just set the fastest lap of the race, 57 flat.
Well, Danny's doing his teammate a whole load of good.
Isn't he?
He's blocking the 20-point position.
Yep.
Did Cal just cut the inside again now? I just looked up and it looked to me like he was getting a fair old...
Well, I think he's got problems anyway, because Valentino is right on him.
You think?
Yes. I don't know how to break this, do you? Looking further down the field, Folger's got up to 12th.
Lucio Cetinello.
Oh, yeah.
What did you say to me earlier on? When you congratulated him at last year, when you did the test last year on the Monday after Cal won on the Sunday, you went up and Luke gave you a big hug. And you said,
and all I could think was, God, you smell wonderful. as you can imagine, he would.
He looks like the man that would smell nice.
Yeah.
Not that I've
And it's just, you know, of course, it's Lucio Cecchinello, you know, of course, every aspect of his turnout is impeccable.
All I can say is he probably thought the same about you.
I sincerely hope so.
Still, it's Maverick Vinales in third position. Fourth is Cal Crutchlow on 35 in fourth position, and under a little bit of pressure now from Valentino Rossi. But if ever there's a man that can resist that, that will be Cal Crutchlow.
Looking at 9th, 10th and 11th places, 3 cracking rides, Keith. Paul Espargaro, Carol Abraham and Alex Rins.
0.8 the difference between Crutchlow and Rossi last time round at the line. We're coming up to the last 2 bends on the course. This is Dovizioso chasing Petrucci. So 2 2017 Ducatis about to mix it up because Dovi's closing down. There's the championship if it ends where we are at this moment in time. Over the line then.
This is it, Keith, a lap to go.
Crutchlow to Rossi down to 0.4.
Sorry, 2 laps to go, I can't count.
0.4 is the difference now for that 4th place. Crutchlow under severe pressure from Valentino Rossi,
who's just done his personal best lap of the race.
Well, now, talking of aftershave, he can smell Crutchlow's.
Took 0.4 out of Cal in that lap.
Vinales, though, looks safe in 3rd place at the moment, but you never know what this bloke's capable of doing. In fact, we do know what he's capable of doing because he quite often does it.
But getting past Cal Crutchlow is not
It's going to be a magnificent damage limitation situation for Valentino Rossi if he ends up 4th with where he restarted with a slick shod bike.
It is.
That's Cal out wide. He's going to allow Rossi through because he knew he was there. No, he's not. Forgive me, Cal.
Straight back across his nose. This is a wonderful racetrack.
Look at the crowd down in the stadium section now, all second gear stuff here.
Rossi.
Actually, they've got a nice sort of tone between them, the Honda and the Yamaha
together.
Works
well, doesn't it? Valentino, a brilliant ride after a mistake, but from second on the grid.
Rossi's just put his personal best in of the race on that last lap. You said that, didn't you? I'm looking at you and I can see you said
hello,
that.
Dovi.
Dovi's through. So Petrucci on the other 27. These both 2017 Ducatis, of course. And very similar in respect to the fact that it's only Lorenzo that's running that great big thing. Last lap time then. Marc Marquez crosses the line. He had an 18-second lead. What is it going to be to Pedrosa, who is in 2nd place? His teammate is there. He'll be coming to the line any minute now. We're looking back at the...
We're on board with Rossi, looking at Crutchlow there.
Indeed, and Rossi's looking for it. It's a 16-second lead for Marc Marquez over Pedrosa. Then we go back another 6 seconds to Vinales. Crutchlow 2 seconds further back. Rossi now is right on him. Rossi on this last lap is going to be looking to try and pinch that 4th place over Cal Crutchlow, but believe me, he's going to have to work hard to do it. It's going to be... Bradley Smith has retired.
Right on the start of the last lap, and lucky KTMs go home to Austria in a week's time.
Words out of my mouth, Jules. Right then, Cal Crutchlow, I'll tell you, Cal Crutchlow's going to put his best lap of the race in on this last lap. I've got a feeling for it.
I think so. Lorenzo's just gone past Scott Redding. Redding out of the points.
Lorenzo in 15th place. Excuse me for that. Through goes Maverick Vinales, and it's 35. Here we go. Up the inside comes Valentino Rossi and eases Cal Crutchlow to the outside. Crutchlow won't let him get away with it if he can help it. Will he get him up the hill? Let's see if the Honda has the output to go behind Valentino Rossi. Will he find another way past? This is the last lap scrap. This is 4th place, the battle for. Cal gets it sideways, gets on the gas as quick as he can. He knows Valentino Rossi so well. Will he have something in that Honda to make a pass, a repass, up on the last chicane maybe?
Maybe. The Honda should have the power up the hill.
What an intriguing 74-mile race this has been. 22 laps, wheelies all round them for Marc Marquez. He has been spectacular since he changed bikes. It is going to be a Marc Marquez and Honda win. There's his dad Julia as we come to the last set of corners. Marc Marquez has worked strategically brilliantly to win this race here. The Czech Grand Prix belongs to Marc Marquez and Honda. Pedrosa will come home. His teammate will come home in 2nd place. He is some 16 seconds adrift after the strategy that Marc Marquez played on the rest of the field here. Pedrosa takes 2nd place, and it's a great day for Honda. They've looked great all weekend. They've made it work. Vinales have come from a really difficult weekend to take that podium place. Then Rossi and Crutchlow as quick as that. And then it is going to be Dovizioso in front of his, we'll say teammate.
Yes, go on.
Petrucci in what? 7th place. Aleix Espargaro on the Aprilia, a good 8th for him, but that was after he got a penalty for taking out Ian One in pit lane on the bike swap. So
and his brother right behind him in 9th on the KTM. Folger got 3 places on the last lap to go 10th.
From Rins and his teammate Zarco. Abraham gets deservedly points in 13th place with Miller 14th and Lorenzo on the last point scoring place. Scott Redding just outside the points, as was Rabat and of course Sam Lowes.
What a weird afternoon.
Going to be a lot of debrief going on here,
Yeah.
Julian. I mean, particularly in the Yamaha camp.
I wish I was staying for the test tomorrow now.
Just so you could ask the question. I don't even know. I mean, didn't we ask those questions after Misano?
Yes.
When we had that situation where Yamaha just seemed to drop the ball on strategy?
Well, I don't think they did. They had the board out. They knew what was going on.
Yeah, but I look at it as a team, not just a rider. There's something there. It's not that Valentino is ever not going to trust his team, but he seems to have the overriding vote on whether to come in or not. But you know, you would think this is the 3rd time from memory that really it hasn't worked for. I mean, he's got away with it magnificently with the 4th place.
But unless you talk about the championship, in which case 3 of the contenders would have beaten him.
It's a strange day. I mean, I know a lot of people at home aren't going to be happy about criticism for Yamaha or for Valentino Rossi, but I really feel like you can't really call it anything else in this way, because you know they allowed it.
Can I also say you saw Marc Marquez point to the sky over the line? 3 Spaniards on the roster.
And Raul Nieto is who he would be saluting to, of course, the maestro as they refer to him. If you're Spanish, and Raul Nieto, considered to be the maestro, has sadly departed. Everyone turned up on the grid, didn't they, for a minute's silence earlier today. And Alex Marquez there. Well, I must say, I don't know about a debrief for some of these teams. I think I need a debrief in here with you, just to work that out.
I think we need to have a deep drink about this later on, frankly. It's very... but who's come out well of this? Obviously the Hondas and Vinales. Rossi, great comeback, but... I think Aprilia.
I mean, if it hadn't been for that mess that happened in pit lane, which again, it was Aleix Espargaro's fault, but he came across from the fast lane of the pit. I don't know.
He was released into the path.
Into the fast lane of the pit.
Into the path of the Suzuki.
It seems like teams have still got stuff to work out when it comes to this bike swap business.
Some of this looks very amateur, to be frank.
It's a word I was avoiding, but I do actually agree with you.
I can't avoid using it.
No, I actually agree with you.
Can I big up as well, as I believe young people say today, for Alex Rins.
Carol Abram for me.
Yeah, those 2 in Aleix. I know it's a lot of people, but there's some very good rides in there.
Out of this melee that we've had, Cal Crutchlow, good ride from Cal Crutchlow. He's in there, of course, as the independent team winner. That's why he's in there, even though he finished 5th in the end. He hates that.
He hates that, the peasant's reward, or whatever he was called it.
Is that what he calls it?
That was Cal's remark, not mine.
That's why he's gone off to his team anyway. But Marc Marquez is the star of the day.
Brilliant.
There is no doubt about it.
Brilliant.
It looked like it was heading for disaster when he was slipping back down the field on that wet shod machine.
With the soft rear in,
but like he did in Germany previously, when the track was still wet back then.
Germany was really, really
he took it a massive risk. Other people came in after he did and changed and slid off. But that was right for slick tyres at that time.
As you said, that wasn't a risk.
No, I didn't think so at the time.
That was...
But these guys are doing the riding. You know, we're only doing the commentary.
What you always hear when Rossi was out there with Dovizioso, it's that old, I'm doing what my championship rivals are doing. I'm doing what the guy in front's doing. And they haven't. For such an intelligent man as Valentino Rossi.
There was a real opportunity in this race for people in the lower order to steal a march. You know, you saw Scott Redding, he came in early. Aleix Espargaro came in early to change to slick shod motorcycles. That was the right call.
Folger tried to and had to do a ride through because his crew weren't ready.
I didn't understand that.
Folger came in right behind Marc Marquez.
I don't understand it from the Tech 3 point of view. They are a brilliant team.
I have no idea. All I'm telling you is what happened.
We better go and have a word with him.
Yeah.
So lots of up for us to wrap up. Don't forget we've got checkered flag coming up after the main programme here today, and that's going to be an interesting conversation from all of our men.
Did you tell me a ride through was 28 seconds?
That's the penalty. If you don't do your ride through, then they can give you 28 seconds.
Take 28 seconds off Jonas Folger's time for that ride through. He'd have been on the rostrum.
Great spot, Jules. Another thing we've got to debrief and talk over in a moment or two. That's a great spot.
So
there, Alex and Marc Marquez, brothers, of course. Dad in the background.
This just adds to the point you were very gently making earlier, is what are some of these people playing at?
Well, I mean, I have to say, team strategy is something that is lacking in MotoGP when it comes to these bike swaps. It really is.
Yeah.
And I think that you almost need to bring someone in from outside to actually call the strategy. I mean, and a rider, needs to take note of what a team is saying. They're seeing the overall picture. They're seeing what's going on every part of the track from the monitors and the telemetry they've got in pit lane. And that's whereas a rider can't.
That was what Rossi was saying about why he wanted the text on his dashboard.
Which I'm assuming he had, which he does have. They have it, but whether it broke... maybe it broke down.
Maybe he wasn't in possession of the full facts. Yeah. But the trouble is, Valentino's previous in situations like this...
were his own fault.
...does lead you to believe...
Ramon Facada talking there to Maverick Vinales. Good ride from Maverick Vinales for a podium position. He's salvaged something pretty good out here. Seti Gibernau there, white shirt with the earphones around his neck, talking with Danny Pedrosa. Tell you what, there's some talent in that side of the garage now, isn't there? But that's a good ride from him.
Guidotti, his race engineer with the elegantly greying hair.
They all look elegantly greying, don't they, the senior Italians?
Yes.
I think the word on elegant. Yes, about time.
That's a change in attitude.
Really is. Really is.
And
I wonder if they've made some fairly major changes. Let's hear from the third place man then. Maverick.